Okay, think about this for a second. High-end glass art, right? Like really intricate stuff. Then the sort of shadowy cannabis underground. And then somehow a brutal triple murder ties into domestic terrorism.
It sounds completely unbelievable, almost like fiction.
Exactly. But that's what we're diving into today, the absolutely baffling case of the Waltham triple homicide. It's a crime that technically, officially, is still unsolved, even though there was a confession sort of in clear lengths to one of the Boston Marathon bombers.
Right. And today, we'll try to unpack those layers. We've looked at sources covering everything from how this unique glass business even started to the really chilling details of the crime itself.
And the investigation.
Yeah.
The twists there are just unreal.
Yeah, hopefully we can help you understand why this case just keeps people guessing, why it's still so perplexing.
So let's start at the beginning. Hitman Glass. It gets founded back in, 2009 by Doug Dracup. People called him Dougie Fresh.
That's right, out in L.A. And he wasn't just making pipes. He was doing something new with dab rigs, for cannabis concentrates. He brought this graffiti art style to them using high-end borosilicate glass.
So functional art, collectible pieces.
Exactly. He tapped into this growing market for legitimate, high-quality cannabis accessories. It really set them up for growth.
And that growth brings Erik Weissman into the picture, Massachusetts guy.
Yeah, Erik Weissman, he was key. More than just a distributor, he was really plugged into the Boston college scene, the whole Heady glass world. He actually had equity in Hitman.
Oh, okay, so he was a partner, really.
Pretty much. He was building their East Coast hub. But there's a complication, a pretty big one. He'd been busted before. And sources say he owed $50,000 to a cannabis supplier, a plug, back in California.
$50,000?
Yeah.
That's significant pressure.
Huge pressure. And it immediately flags this potential connection to, an underworld element for investigators later on.
Pressure point, definitely. Which sort of sets a dark backdrop for what happens next. September 11th, 2011.
The 10th anniversary of 9/11. It's a chilling date to begin with.
And on that day, Erik Weissman, Brendan Mess, and Raphael Tikin, they're found murdered in Mess's apartment in Waltham, Massachusetts. And the scene was just horrific. Brutal, throat slit, almost decapitated.
It's hard to even imagine. But what makes it even stranger, more baffling, is what wasn't taken.
Right. The police find 7 pounds of cannabis, $5,000 in cash, just left there.
Untouched. Which immediately makes you think, okay, this isn't a robbery gone wrong. Drug-related killings usually involve taking the drugs or the money. This felt different.
Like a message, or something else entirely.
Exactly. It suggested a motive beyond just theft. It complicated everything right from the start.
Okay, pause there. Now jump forward 2 years. 2013. The Boston Marathon bombing happens, and the investigation into that takes this completely unexpected turn back towards Waltham.
It's almost hard to believe the connection, but investigators link Tamerlan Tsarnaev, one of the bombing suspects, directly to all 3 murder victims.
What was the link?
Well, multiple things. Tsarnaev used to train boxing with Brendan Mess. He was also in frequent phone contact with Erik Weissman. And maybe the most damning piece, phone metadata. It placed Tsarnaev's phone near the crime scene around the estimated time of the murders.
Okay, so you've got personal connections, phone contact, location data. That sounds pretty solid. Why didn't it just close the case?
Well, that's where it gets even more complex and, frankly, controversial. There was another figure, Ibrahim Todashev. He was an associate of Tsarnaev, also Chechen.
And he talked.
He did. He actually confessed, apparently, to committing the Waltham murders with Tamerlan Tsarnaev.
Wait, he confessed? Then why is it unsolved?
Because the confession never got finished. According to the official story, while being interviewed by the FBI and Massachusetts State Police, Todashev allegedly became violent. He was shot and killed by an FBI agent right there during the interview.
Killed during the interview?
Yes. And a full transcript, a complete recording or signed statement of that supposed confession. It was never released publicly. Just summaries and contested accounts. So you have this partial confession that ends fatally, adding this huge layer of ambiguity and suspicion.
Unbelievable. So you've got the Tsarnaev links, the phone data, this unfinished fatal confession, and yet still, officially, the Waltham triple homicide remains unsolved.
Correct. No charges ever filed specifically for the murders, no trial, no official closure for the families.
Why does it still matter so much beyond the obvious tragedy for the families?
Well, think about it. Erik Weissman was right in the middle of Hitman Glass's big East Coast push. His murder absolutely rocked the Heady Glass community and the local cannabis scene in Boston, two very distinct subcultures.
Right.
But it's bigger than that. You have a brutal, seemingly ritualistic crime directly linked to someone involved in a major act of domestic terrorism. It raises serious, lingering questions about what investigators knew or didn't know, both before the bombing and maybe even about the murders themselves. It connects high-end glass art to homeland security in this completely bizarre and tragic way. The truth, as some sources suggest, feels clouded.
So we're left staring at this puzzle. A high-end brand caught up with terrorists. A murder scene that screams execution, not robbery. A confession cut short by bullets. It just leaves you with ambiguity.
And maybe that's the final thought for you, the listener. What does it really signify when a case has so many threads, a confession, terrorism links, physical evidence, but still stays officially unsolved? What else might be going on beneath the surface here? And what does it tell us about the stories we actually get to hear and the ones we don't?